What's up guys, Norris here for Tannehill Nation Disc Golf, and today I'm going to be giving you some basic forehand tips, for those of you just starting to throw the forehand, really wanting to try to improve your forehand game. If you've seen any of our previous videos, you've probably noticed that a lot of us have some pretty good forehands. Me, Caleb, Jeff, Chelsea, we all really have above average forehands. I'm going to be showing you some of the things that help keep us in line when we're out there throwing forehands on the course. Me personally, I'll throw forehands up to 420 feet with no wind, and I've been throwing forehands about 3 years now. I actually started with an ultimate disc, and then I worked my way up to like a DXT Bird and the Ace Race version of the Discraft Madness, and that's what I learned with, and now I'm up throwing Worlds and Kings and Swords and all that. But anyways, first off is grip. I use one grip and one only grip, and that is pretty much the standard power grip. The middle finger on the rim and the index finger supporting it with the thumb on top with the flight plate there. For me, it feels best. That's what feels best in my hand. I feel like I get a consistent snap and spin out of my hand every single time. I think me and Jeff and Caleb use that grip. Chelsea will actually use the split grip where that index finger will be out towards the middle of the flight plate, as you can see there. She says for her that's what feels most comfortable, and that's what gives her the consistent release that she's looking for. So if that works best for you, I would highly advise you doing that. Otherwise, I would definitely stick to the grip that I first showed you. A lot of people talk about the stack grip, where the middle finger's on the rim as well as the index finger. Me personally, I hate that grip. I'll always preach against it. I feel like it messes up my release angle, my release timing, and everything that goes into throwing a good forehand. So if you ever ask me how to throw a forehand, I'll definitely tell you don't use that grip. But whatever grip that you do choose to use, really one thing that will help keep you in line is we move into stance. For me, when I'm trying to be accurate, my left foot, whether it's standstill or coming off an X step, which I'll show you in a second, my left foot will be pointing directly forward, or more times than not just a little off center to the right. And what that does is really gives me a nice line to come through. As I'm coming through, I will snap up and forward with and what that really does is it'll come right over my big toe pretty much and snap on that straight line, wherever that big toe is pointing. And so that'll really help keep you in line in the woods, or really need to park a very important shot. Really settle down, focus on getting that foot exactly where you need it to, and then the rest is muscle memory, snapping forward, and you'll be able to hit your lines every time, pretty much guaranteed. Also, in terms of lining up, my right foot in relation to my left foot is, the big toe will probably be about, I'd say, 10 inches to a foot to the right, and it's pointing, pretty well off to the right, but that's just to give my hips a little bit more movement, freedom of motion coming forward. It doesn't really move a lot. My heel will come off the ground as my hips come forward. Really, it doesn't have anything to do on where the disc is going. That's really determined by this, this plant foot right here. Also going forward, snap. It's probably the most important thing that has to do with the forehand, because if you don't get snapped, you can do everything else right, nothing will happen. So two things that'll really help keep you in line in terms of snap. Number one, definitely will be to keep your palm and your forearm to the sky the entire time, even as you're snapping through. Keep everything up. That'll really help keep the disc on a nice straight line. You're really not getting anything off of axis anywhere in the throw, and that'll really help keep more understable discs going straight and then hyzer. It really just gives a nice clean release. And some people will come through and they'll snap over, and they'll go this way. They need something really, really overstable just so it'll flex back. And some people will throw decently far doing that, even though their form's pretty bad. And they're like, man, I need, I'm throwing 400 feet with enforcers and X1s. I need something super stable because of all the sweet torque that I just put on it. Really, it's just bad form. They're getting a decent amount of power onto it. It's just because of of a flex line. It's not really because they're getting 400 feet worth of power onto it. It's just able to flex like that, and there's no way they can be really accurate doing that either. So that's what I'll preach, you know, keeping everything up and snapping forward and just keeping that up the whole way through, and you'll really see, I think you'll really see an improvement as you're trying to throw mid-ranges and putters. Like you'll see Ricky, when he steps up, he throws harps, you know, more deadly than anybody I've ever seen. It's just a nice little pop. You can see his hands and fingers just stay straight up the whole time, and you know he puts it on the basket pretty much every time. Big Germ, another really good example, keeps it up the whole time with those M4s and P1s, and it's, you know, it's parked. So you don't see any of them coming across like that and snapping over. Also, in terms of developing the snap, not just in terms of keeping all this up, just in terms of the wrist motion, what I would do, what I would recommend, this is what I did. I stood in my yard, you know, everything facing forward the way I'm trying to throw, and very little arm motion, and I would just kind of snap my wrist forward. I mean, it took me about a week for the disc not to wobble, and it also took, you know, probably a good 2 weeks for me to get a really good spin and a really good release, you know, pretty much all down in the muscle memory. So don't be discouraged if it takes you a little while, because, you know, it's completely understandable. It's something new that you're learning, but if you stick with it, I promise it'll pay off huge dividends going forward. So really, I mean, just get a buddy that you can play catch with, get an understable putter or an ultimate disc if you have one, maybe even a mid-range, and just stand facing each other and just focus on snapping it forward, getting your timing, getting your release point down, getting that spin on it. Once you're able to do that, you know, then you can move up, put a little more heat in the system, you know, a little more hip turn, this, that, and the other, you know, going forward. Now, that's all I have for you today. We'll be putting out another video with more advanced tips for the forehand that we hope will also help you. If you have any questions, anything concerning this video or about anything else we do disc golf wise, leave a comment. One of us will be sure to get back to you. Watch our other videos, you know, have some fun. We got a lot of really great things lined up for the channel going forward. So subscribe, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. We just did our first giveaway. Congrats to one of our giveaways. So be on the lookout for all those. So thank y'all, and yeah, we'll see y'all next time.